What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a very special edition of Dogs and Hogs. We talk a little bit about some Georgia football and a little bit about some barbecue. I'm your host, Bobby Andrews. We have got, as usual, Russ Tanner. And Russ, please introduce the very, very special guest that we have on tonight.
Well, first off, my guest does not want introductions, does not want to talk about how beautiful she is, how much I love her, any of that on Valentine's Day. But it's Valentine's Day, and I love her, and I'm glad she came on. I've got the most diehard Georgia fan that I know, my wife, the beautiful and lovely Shelley Tanner, on with us tonight.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yep. Thanks for coming on, Shelley. We really appreciate it. Thought it was fitting. It was Russ's idea to have you on, and what better day than Valentine's Day? So,
well,
yes,
every week, my wife is my biggest critic, and I don't mean that negatively. She tells me what I need to do better. She's good at it, and every week I just say, like, y'all should talk about this, should talk about this. So we're gonna fix that tonight. You can come on the show, and we can get the perspective for the people on here. So,
yeah.
Let's roll, baby.
There we go. Yeah, we got a couple different things that we're going to talk about tonight, fans. Please feel free to leave some comments in the comment section, and we will get to them when we can. So no Roddy today, so I'll be handling the comments section. But yeah, so I guess off the bat, today's Valentine's Day. Russ, I asked you before the show started.
Yeah.
Do you have any special plans? You and Shelley? Did you and Shelley do anything fun today?
Well, let's see.
This right here.
Yeah, if we spun the camera around, you'll see what real life looks like when you're married with a bunch of kids. But man, we've been married 18 years now. We got 4 kids. So Valentine's days are a lot of running around people that we love a lot. And when you get to do that, somebody that you love a lot, it makes it better. But
picking people up from different places, sitting at the ball field. It's fun afternoon.
And now that Shelley's engaged in the show, she spent the first 2 minutes of the show just texting all of our friends saying jump on because she wants to set a viewership record tonight. So
perfect.
We're supposed to see that.
Yeah. Well, we thank you, viewers, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in for a very special episode and spending your Valentine's Day eves with us. So very appreciative. And I guess we'll jump right in. I mean, we got a lot to talk about tonight. I think we're going to get to the Super Bowl, but I think first and foremost, thoughts and prayers out to the families and all the people involved with the shooting that occurred out in was it Union Hall, I believe, or something like that, out in Kansas City.
Showing me more, to find out more stuff about it.
Yeah. So thoughts and prayers go out to the families involved in that. But first off the bat, I don't think we've talked about this yet. Russ, Ben Urasek, I believe is how you say his name, tight end transfer from Stanford. Have you seen the kid play at all? Thoughts, opinions? Do you know anything about him?
Well, so I bet my wife's going to know more than I do. She actually keeps more track of what's going on with recruiting and all that than I do. It's crazy, but she does. Yeah, I don't know much about him. I was thinking some of the highlights that have been on the website, and I typically know that tight ends from Stanford are good. They don't have lots. You don't want DBs. You don't want a cornerback from Stanford. You don't want like a tailback from Stanford. But if you get like an offensive lineman or a tight end from Stanford, they're usually pretty good.
Well, they've got to be smart. I mean, he's got to be smart. So,
yeah.
And he's already graduated, right? He's already got his degree from Stanford, I think, and now he can come play with Georgia. So that's the both worlds for him.
I think you're right about that. He did have a Senior Bowl invite, so I'm pretty sure he was obviously draft eligible. And I think you're right, Shelley, that he was graduated from Stanford. So yeah, pretty smart kid. Hopefully,
And that's an area for Georgia. It's just the depth. It's the depth play for Georgia, right? You think about the past 2 years who we've lost: Darnell Washington, and then the greatest tight end in the history of college football, Brock Bowers, going out of there. You got Oscar Delp. You got Lawson Lucky, a couple other guys in there that are hopefully going to be part of the fray and mix it up. But you don't have that hard-nosed, grizzled veteran in the trenches to block like you've had in the past. And hopefully Delp can do some of that. So you get a big, smart, tough kid. We actually saw Coach Hartley today in town. It's fun this time of year. You get to see just random coaches in random places. I saw Coach Hartley. I'm sure he's recruiting then. He didn't tell me anything about USC. If I remember we were talking about what I asked him, but yeah, I like it. Add players, man. If Kirby likes a player, I like the player.
Yeah, I think one of the things.
More time watching T-ball and coach pitch baseball than I do spring football. It's just the way it is for life. But if they like him, I like him. I'm good with it.
There you go. I think one of the things that we talked about a couple weeks ago on the show was where are they getting all of these scholarships from? Is someone like Carson Beck taking, a backseat on the scholarship because he is, getting NIL money. Just an interesting conversation. Obviously, we don't know the answer to that, but
did you see Carson Beck's car?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, they're probably leasing it to him or giving it to him just to ride around town, right?
What if I would have had a Lamborghini when we were in college?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wonder how the team deals with that. Like if you got one guy driving around a Lamborghini, another guy's car barely runs. Like that feels like it's kind of hard for team cohesiveness. But maybe it's also like, look what you can do if you can play at Georgia.
Who's the player that you knew from when I played out of our friends that would least need to be driving a Lamborghini?
Davey?
Yeah. She's talking about Paula.
He doesn't need to be driving. He'd probably be the one that would get to drive it. But as far as the person who has the ability to drive a car like that, he probably wouldn't be the one you want driving it.
I would have gone Big Dan. I just didn't think he would fit. But yeah. But Davey, that's a good call. Yeah, it's we get a lot of opinions around here about the NIL stuff and stuff she has going on. So, it's interesting. It's a wild time. It's a wild time to watch football. I thought it was cool this week on the event. Roddy had a Classic Collective guy answering questions, doing Q&A, and he made a comment on there that basically said that we're not going to see this type of unregulated NIL for very much longer. So regulation is coming off. I don't even remember your original question. I got caught up in the Lamborghini thing about.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Yeah, keep rolling.
Riding around in a Lamborghini. But yeah, it's changing. Everything's changing. What was the question? What did I get off track on?
We were talking about if you're a sec coming in, scholarship opportunities, who's potentially taking a backseat, because you brought that up a couple weeks ago on the show. You're like, someone like Carson Beck who's making NIL money and can pay his own way through college, and is probably is he willing to give up a scholarship himself to get another guy from another school, like a Urasek, a tight end who could help him out, kind of fill Brock Bowers' shoes, maybe a little bit. I'm not going to say he's going to be the next Brock Bowers. I'm just saying it could be beneficial. So we will see. Only time will tell. So, all right. Well, that's pretty much the only UGA football news that we got. We're going to get into some Super Bowl stuff right now. Super Bowl Sunday. I sure hope that you two watched Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, we had a lot of dogs playing in it. So
that's where it was interesting in our house this week, because what was the dynamic in our house? Who do people want to win this year's Super Bowl?
We wanted the 49ers to win, for sure. But our son Rez had been a huge Chief fan for years, so he was kind of torn because he did want Charlie Warner to win, but he's loved the Chiefs for years. So he was the only one that was torn, though. Everybody else wanted the 49ers to win.
Yeah. Thoughts on Thoughts on the game as a whole? It seemed a little slow the first three quarters of the
first
game.
Half,
it was like watching paint dry.
Boring. The first half was boring, ugly football.
Yeah.
We watched at some friend's house the first half, then came home. We got kids had to go to school. I fell asleep during the fourth quarter. I think that's what happens when you're like a 41-year-old dad. I know some of you other jokers watching this can relate. Like if I get on my couch at night and it's too quiet, there's 0% chance to stay awake. But I woke up during overtime. It was a pretty good deal. It's like going to sleep during a golf tournament and waking up when the leaders are coming down like the final 3 holes. So it was boring early, but then it turned on.
And then there was halftime, and it was the best show ever. You forgot the best part.
You really think so?
Best show ever.
It was
really?
Usher was awesome.
He was not better than Dr. Dre and Friends.
I don't know.
People said Prince. Now I don't remember the Prince performance. What was that, like 2007 or something like that? But when Prince performed at that Super Bowl halftime show, apparently people were like, "That was the greatest halftime show of all time, and nothing will top that." So I don't know if you guys can speak on that one at all. If you watched that one,
I don't remember that one.
But I remember this Usher one, and that was awesome.
When Usher came out on roller skates, I was impressed. I always want to dance like Usher. There's a lot of things I've never been able to accomplish in life, and there's a few dreams I think I got to let go. Dance like Usher's one of them. I might have to let that one go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let that one go.
I'm a good dancer.
Not like Usher.
Whatever.
Russ, you can learn. I can learn.
I can work on some moves.
Second half of the game.
Yeah, they finally started picking it up, getting a little bit of momentum. It's like the offense finally figured out how to attack what those guys were giving them, and I got more excited. You get to overtime, and the 49ers had a great drive down the field, but when they didn't score, I knew right then, it's like, that's ball game. You're not going to beat Mahomes in overtime, plain and simple. He's going to go down as the greatest of all time in all likelihood. I mean, right now, if he retired right now, the only conversation, if you just look at pure winners, is going to be Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. They're the two greatest winners at the quarterback position in the history of the NFL. And you just measure that by pure Super Bowls. I don't think anybody can come close to it. So, yeah, it was a great ending. I hate it for the 49ers because, like I said, we want our buddy Charlie to win. He's going to be on the show if they'd have won. Maybe we could still talk him to be on the show. But it would have been cool to have a Super Bowl champion on there. But
absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I love the drama that happened in overtime. I hate games where it's a blowout and not fun to watch. I love good football, and that was good football.
Yeah.
No.
I think shout out to Mecole Hardman winning his third Super Bowl championship with the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, cool story. Started with the Jets this year, got released, and then rejoins Kansas City Chiefs and catches the walk-off touchdown to win the Super Bowl. Just very cool moment for a former Georgia Bulldog, as well as Malik Herring, local guy as well. Malik Herring won his second back-to-back Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs. So congratulations to them. Thoughts on, Pat, you've already kind of mentioned it, but is Patrick Mahomes the greatest quarterback of all time? Has he cemented that legacy at the age of 28?
I don't know if he's cemented it, because I think that the greatest of all time has an aspect of longevity to it that I don't think he's accomplished yet. Percentage of accomplishments for a short career, yes. I mean, if he retired tomorrow, if he announced tomorrow he's retiring, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and it's not close. There's not many guys that can do that in a 6-year career, but he could. So, I don't know. Where do you rank him? What's your thoughts here, Miss? I always had something I should have said better on the show. What do you think, Patrick Mahomes? Greatest of all time?
He's obviously, if he keeps going like he is, he has to be in the conversation.
So longevity is the biggest piece here. Both of you kind of consensus.
To be the GOAT, yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Saban going down as the greatest of all time. It's not because he came in as a flash in the pan and won, 3 championships in a 7-year period. It's because he did it over 20 some odd years at several different schools. I mean, longevity creates legacy typically. And, Mahomes is going to get there, by the way. I have full confidence he's going to go down as the greatest of all time by the time it's all said and done. But, right now you're not putting him above, the very top of the top as far as NFL history.
Yep. All right, so thoughts on the overtime decision. I want to hear from both of you. When the coin toss happened, 49ers won, and they elected to have the ball first.
Yeah.
Agree with the decision? Disagree with the decision?
I was confused by it. I would have not wanted it first. So I've heard some people say that maybe they didn't fully understand the rules, which, you didn't understand the rules. I felt like I knew what was about to happen. Maybe they didn't know it right then on the field. So, but if that was the case, that's probably somebody's job that they failed on, to not know fully adequately what those rules were. So that's probably an issue that needs to be addressed. But even when they said it, I thought, okay, well, they know a lot more than I know about football, but I don't think I would have wanted it first. I would want to know what I got to score to get there. But
yeah, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if they score a touchdown on the first drive, if 49ers score a touchdown, it's the ball game.
No. They changed that rule after I believe it was 2 years ago, when the Bills lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship because Patrick Mahomes drove down the field. They got the ball first. They didn't even give the Bills a chance. And so they changed the rules because a bunch of people gave them grief for that. I mean, it happened with the Falcons in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady got the ball first, and that was the end of it. So
they both get possession.
Well then, y'all just learned me something. I appreciate that. So then, yes, the answer is you take the ball second, because Patrick Mahomes had 4 downs to go all the way down the field every single drive. And this is just pure math. If you try something 4 times, you will succeed more than if you try it 3 times. Just the way it is. If you have 4 downs to get a first down, your chances of succeeding go up. So, yeah, that was a bad decision by Shanahan. But Shanahan's 0-3 in the Super Bowl now, and the Falcons fans are still bitter about it. So that part I'm okay with, even though Charlie didn't get his ring.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. That Kyle Shanahan just can't seem to get the big one. But all right, so Shelley, are you a big Taylor Swift fan? Because she was not super involved in the Super Bowl, but she was shown. I think there were betting odds on the Super Bowl of how many times Taylor Swift would be shown on screen. It was like 6.5 or something. I think it was 8. Are you a Taylor Swift fan? Are you not a Taylor Swift fan? Give me your thoughts on the whole Taylor Swift debacle, because that's something that I don't understand.
I would say I'm probably just a neutral Taylor Swift fan. I mean, I like a lot of her old stuff.
Yep.
I haven't really listened to as much of her new stuff. Not for necessarily any reason. I mean, I've heard some of it.
How do you feel about the NFL putting the camera on her all the time during the game? Does it make you watch it more?
They do that. No, I don't care if she's on it or not. I don't watch it to see what she's doing, but I know a lot of people do. I personally probably question her judgment a little bit more now because Kelsey's an idiot. I mean, he might be a great player, but I question his judgment on the way he treated his coach during the game, and then his speech at the trophy ceremony. I'm like, does he have brain cells?
I didn't see his trophy speech. What did he say?
Nothing. He sang songs and yelled into the mic. He didn't like thank anyone or be humble. And I don't know. He just seems kind of like he's arrogant. And it makes me question Taylor Swift because I think Travis Kelce's an idiot. So I'm like, if she's dating him, is she the same as him? So that's kind of what I'm wondering about her right now. Like, what's going on with her? But I mean, she's obviously super talented and very skilled. And, you know, I am not compelled to spend thousands of dollars to go to her concert, but I would certainly go to her concert. But
we're not going to get invited now after what you just said about Travis. Good Lord.
Well, maybe he's great too. Just the things that he showed on Sunday night were not very impressive, and he seems like he's a little arrogant, and I just don't really love arrogance. Yeah. I don't feel like it's very becoming, and that's kind of what he acted like. And I don't know, he didn't say anything worth noting in the trophy ceremony to me. So I'm like, what's she saying?
I don't think he was, fully there for that ceremony. I think a few of the guys were, had already had a couple of drinks.
Maybe that happened so fast. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a perfect topic of conversation. Russ, like as somebody who played, all due respect, very little NFL football, but listen, in college,
you didn't have to throw that in there.
In college, you would have never acted that way towards your coach. There's no way. But in the NFL, it's different. It has to be, right. But then again, you still have to have a level of respect. Travis Kelce did come out today. I think maybe it was on his podcast or something. He did kind of apologize and say, it wasn't like, he shouldn't have done that on that public of a stage. And I mean, give me your thoughts. This is unacceptable at any stage.
It's 100% unacceptable. I don't care how fired up you are on what you're doing. I don't think he meant to body him up and put his chest on him. I think he just got a little carried away, and Andy Reid is a little wider than he probably anticipated. But even to get in his face and yell like that, like, you don't do that. And if it wasn't Travis Kelce, if it was anybody else on the team, not named Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, or Chris Jones, their defensive lineman, they're getting cut, they're getting benched, they're getting fined. Something is going to happen to them. But the rules are not the same for everybody. The rules are not the same for superstars in the NFL as the rest of the guys on the team. And they don't have to be. That's okay. That's the way it is. But yeah, that is totally unacceptable. It's not only is it bad for kids watching and stuff along those lines. I mean, that's a big enough issue right now, right? All of our kids watch these guys at NBA shoot threes and, do it in their veins, and they do all this, all the dance moves. Like, if they see the stuff that they emulate, they try to imitate and do what those guys are doing. Are they going to try to get in their faces now? And I don't want to have to karate chop a 12-year-old kid next year when I'm coaching football, because somebody gets in my face, it's going to be a Google chop. But I mean, yeah, it's just, it's terrible. I mean, it's a terrible example of what it is. And there's no amount of passion that can be explained that excuses it. I mean, he should come out humbly and say, I was dead wrong. I didn't hear his apology, nor do I care. I mean, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. I'm not going to spend time thinking about Travis Kelce. But yeah, it's totally unacceptable. And if it wasn't Travis Kelce, that person would probably be cut next year. So
yeah. All right. Well, I think it's only fitting that we talk a little bit about Valentine's Day and the story of how Russ and Shelley Tanner came to be. You guys started dating in college. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, and we'll get about who pursued who first.
Tell me the story. Tell me. I want to hear all about it. Shelley and Russ, how that story came to be, and Russ being a football player. Like, I think some people are genuinely curious. Like, what is it like to date somebody who plays college football? Because not a lot of people do it.
I actually, one of the reasons I wanted Shelley on the show, and not only do I love her and it's Valentine's Day, but she's got great perspective on some of those things. But I'll tell the story real quick, and then we can tee up some of the things about her experience there. So it was my freshman year. She's a year older than me in school anyways. And it was a big health class. It was one of her major classes, just a random elective for me. And there's about 160, 170 people in the class. And that was more, I graduated with 68 people as the only public school in the county. So
I graduated with 23.
You went to a small private school. It's different. But yes, so we both come from small classes. So the first day in the class, the teacher made you say who you were, where you're from, and something about yourself. So, all these girls I'm seeing in here, I'm 18, 19-year-old dude at college. I got my eyes out. And you hear all these girls. And if this is anybody on here's daughter, or if it's you watching, I apologize, but don't be like this. But it says, they would all be like, hi, my name is Mary Margaret Catherine. I'm from Alpharetta, and I like BMWs. And then the next would be like, my name is Mary Elizabeth Swanson. I'm from Roswell, and Daddy takes me to buy purses. And I was like, who are these heifers? Like, this is not, like, I don't know where I'm at or what I'm doing. Because I stand up, it's like, hey, my name's Russ. I'm from Wrightsville. I like to fish. And I sit back down. I was like, man, I'm in the wrong place. And all of a sudden, I hear from across the room, my name's Shelley. I'm from Dublin. I was like, ooh, she kind of fine, too. So that's how we met. And then 2 years later, in another class we had together, she started pursuing me very heavily.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
We had a class together. I just needed like one last elective for my major, and it was a speech class, which was his major. So he was in there, and it was him and DJ Shockley, and apparently they picked 3 girls in there, and DJ was like, you can have one of these 3 girls.
He said it was time for me to have a girlfriend.
And he picked 3 for Russ, and Russ had to pick from one of us 3, and I guess I was the lucky one.
No, what happened on my birthday?
Okay, I did remember that it was his birthday, and I stopped at Ramsey, because most of my classes were in Ramsey. And I stopped there at the little shop there, which who even knows if it's still there. It could be a different shop now. And they had like these huge cookies. So I got this big cookie and I took it to class with me and I gave it to him for his birthday. And so I guess that's how I won out of the 3 of us.
And there it is. She brought a cookie the size of my face and now we're married.
And he was like, she's the one. She brought me a cookie.
People taking notes, if you're in college right now still watching this, make sure to take your significant other a cookie.
I'm a very simple being. She brought me a cookie the size of my face. I knew I was going to marry her. That was pretty much it.
So nice. Did Russ ask you out like the nice Southern gentleman that I have come to know?
I don't know. No. Well, our first date was like with our sisters to see Lord of the Rings. We were home on Christmas break before they went back to the bowl game. I can't remember what year bowl game that was. So our first date was with both of our sisters. So that was sweeping me off my feet.
I've always been the romantic.
Man.
I don't know. Then we just started, I don't know, I guess just
we started dating.
Out.
Yeah, it was fun. So this was funny.
That's what I was
going to tell you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So the first time, we were talking, texting.
Since you asked about what it was like to date a football player.
Yeah, hanging out, whatever. And we've been out just once or twice. And, we had class together the whole semester. So we got to know each other a little bit. And I texted her, called her something one night. I was like, hey, why don't you come over to the apartment? We're just hanging out over here watching a movie, playing video games, whatever. Just come hang out with us. And she's like, all right, fine. And so she comes over to the house. And when she walks in, my room, I was roommates with a kid who's a walk-on with us named Caleb Harris. Caleb Harris is what he called himself. We were in one apartment, but 2 doors down from us was Pollock and Greeny. And like any normal Georgia fan at the time, Shelley was a huge Georgia fan, knew all about it, went all the games. When we were in college, Pollock and Greeny were the names, right? They were Brock Bowers, Roquan Smith, Carson Beck. Those are the types of players they were, and everybody knew them. So I won't forget, she came in the apartment, and we're sitting there playing video games, and she grabs and pulls to the side. She's like, you didn't tell me that your friend's going to be here. I'm like, and what about it? She's like, well, David Pollock and David Green are here, and we're just hanging out with them? What in the world, basically? And after about 10 minutes, What was your take?
I was like, oh, they're just normal, dumb college guys. But I was so nervous when I walked in because I recognized all the people sitting there, and I was like, oh my God, I did not know this was what I was coming into. But it didn't take long at all before I was unimpressed. Not really unimpressed, but I just realized they're normal guys. I was like, oh, they're just like the other guys that I hang out with. They just also play football. So
we weren't like all the losers in your life at the time, but yeah. Yeah, she was like, so y'all just like play video games, make fun of each other, and fart? I was like, yeah, pretty much. That's kind of life.
And I was like, and grown men stop y'all for your autograph. This is strange. Yeah. Why? So it was definitely a new perspective on things, just to, I guess, see that side of what they were like and what they do, and then what it was like going in public after that. With them was specifically different. That was also when they first started the scooter gangs, and the scooters were everywhere. And we used to ride around on the scooters around town when the football players were like the only ones that had them. That was really fun too.
we have friends that text me us one of the stories. I'm not going to say anything about that. I know that we're on a live broadcast with at least 50 people watching right now. And a couple thousand will see it. I know what not to say. It's like you're the first time on this podcast, not me.
All right, so there's a stigma, right? There's when you think somebody's dating a football player, right? There's this thing that is almost assumed. It's like, oh, she does his homework for him. Did you ever do Russ's homework for him?
No, but I will say we didn't start dating until well, I mean, I guess
we had a class last year.
We had a whole class together. No, he actually had someone else that did that already.
What?
Well, then I'm supposed to tell you that. I'm just kidding. He did all his homework.
Oh man, that's funny.
Nobody did. I did my own homework.
He did his own homework.
All right. Hey, I believe it.
Like that's just a fact of the record or something.
Yep. All right, so we'll breeze past that one.
His homework.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine.
His classes were too easy for me.
Your speech classes, you're right. That was your
speech communication, man. It's a real major.
Hey, trust me, I know. It's what we're doing right now. So obviously you succeeded. You got that degree to show for it, right?
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Worked for him.
My phone's vibrating from friends texting this dumb stuff they want to talk about on the show.
All right, let's see. We got I want to know about life after college. You guys ended up getting married, and Russ was pursuing. He went undrafted, but he did sign with the Colts. Correct? Was it the practice squad or what was it?
Bobby, you're killing my ego tonight, dog. Like I've got kids that watch this show. We need to make sure.
Hey, listen, yeah, I don't recall exactly what it was.
You don't recall. I need you to recall these things.
All right, I will next time. I'm writing it down right now.
I was an undrafted free agent with the Colts. So we went up there to Indianapolis. We were married already. We got married before my senior season in college. So
I've been already out for a year. So
yeah. So we were married and went to Indianapolis and tried to make a living up there. I mean, we had dreams, right? We were 23, 24 years old and had this idea that we were going to make millions of dollars in the NFL. And that wasn't exactly what the Lord had planned in our lives. And I got cut from the Colts and we came back home. Shelley went to nursing school and I went to work. So
yeah. Shelley, how was that for you, allowing Russ to kind of pursue his dreams to go to the NFL? What was that like from your perspective?
I mean, it was great. I went up there too, and we basically lived in a hotel for a long time, but there were several other either wives or girlfriends there, so I mostly did stuff with them during the day and hung out. I think the hardest part was the not knowing, but also, kind of feeling like I wonder if he would have bounced around to some other teams more if we had not been married. So kind of feeling like, oh, if we weren't in this boat, would he do that? But he kept saying no, that's not, what he wanted to do was try to bounce around and make different practice squads or figure, wait until the time came. But I mean, it's hard not to think, oh, if we had not been married, would he have stayed and tried to pursue it longer? because they had set up some interviews or tryouts with other teams after the Colts cut him. And he didn't go to them. So it's kind of like, is it my fault? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she thought I was giving up football for her, and I would give up football for her in a heartbeat. But
I didn't want you to.
I know you did. Oh, I know that. That's what I'm trying to say. But I was ready to be done with it. I had a great run. Got to experience a lot of dreams, and it was fun. So yeah, it was fun. I got a funny story about when we came back though. When we get back to Georgia, we went to the Georgia-Florida game that year, and I'd never been to the Georgia-Florida game as a fan. And Shelley had been almost every year, right? As a student, at least. Have I told the story on the air?
I think you have. Maybe it's because I know it and I've heard it so much.
Have I told this story, Bobby?
What? Start over. What was it again?
When we went to the Georgia-Florida game and the Georgia fan was running his mouth.
I don't think so.
Okay.
We've done the show a lot, so it's a little foggy up here.
Look,
at this point,
it doesn't matter. I won't tell the same details. I'll add something to it.
He'll make something up.
He'll make it
it's
better.
called the Tanner Twist.
He'll make it better.
So we were down at the Georgia-Florida game, and I've never been to the Georgia-Florida game as a fan. She went every year as a student. Oh boy, we got people from her hometown watching. They're gonna learn stuff about her right here. This is great. So we're down there watch the game, and Georgia lost, like we did, unfortunately, a good bit back then, and to Florida. And we were leaving. We're walking up. We're like 2 rows from the field. We're walking up. It's a long way up that stadium, and we're coming up there. And there's a Georgia fan right beside us. He's like a 5'6". He's probably like an accountant from, I don't know, the other side of Atlanta somewhere. And he's lit, and he's running his mouth, and he starts talking bad about the players, talking bad about the team, cussing at Georgia. I was like, hey man, chill out, dog. Like, don't say those things. He's like, who the blankety blank are you? You don't blank and know them. I was like, well, actually I do. I was like, I'm like, I don't know. He was like, well, I played last year. Shows how much you know, you big dummy. He's running his mouth back and forth. And finally, we had a guy on the team that had a bad play in the game. And the guy he said, the doctor should have killed that player when he came out of the womb. And when he did, Shelley was behind me. She said, hit him. I was like,
I was really mad.
Hit him? What are you talking about, hit him? I've been out of the NFL for 3 months at this point in time. I was 6'4", 310 pounds, and the peak of my physical being. And she wanted me to hit him. And fortunately,
that was a terrible thing to say.
Fortunately, the guy's wife grabbed him and took him across. And we get up to the top of the stairs, and she's going to the bathroom. And my kid's sitting here, but I'm going to say what she said. I know it's a kid show, but there's no other way around it. She goes to the bathroom, and she looked at me. She said, if he walks by here, you better drop his ass. What? What? And she was hot. So then she kicked, some little Georgia fan girl was carrying a stuffed gator on a string. She kicked it, walking out of the stadium. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah, I have heard that part. I have heard the stuffed gator. Yeah.
Not the fight.
No, I did not hear about all that.
But we really look back fondly on, especially our first few years of marriage together, getting to experience Georgia football together. Because I never got to experience other things. What was it like taking you to a game?
Well, I guess people don't think about this either, that some of these guys haven't been to games before they came as a player. They didn't all grow up, especially now. They didn't all grow up coming to games all the time. And Russ, he came to games when he was being recruited and stuff, but it's not like he came to all the games growing up, and he certainly didn't in college because he was playing at the games. So the first time we went to a game after he was done, I was just flabbergasted that he had no idea what to do. He didn't know where to drive. He didn't know what roads to go on. He didn't know how to get around the stadium. And I was like, what is happening? I thought you knew everything about Georgia football, and you know nothing. You can't get anywhere. You don't know where anything is. You can't find a thing in here. It was
I just want to drive across the bridge.
It was kind of mind-blowing. He just knew all the other parts that we don't know, but he didn't know anything that normal fans know.
Right.
So
wow.
that's how a lot of them are, because they don't have to do any of that stuff ever. And most of the time, even afterwards, when they go to a game, they don't even have to sit in the normal seats. So, it was just when we were going to sit in some normal old seats, and he's like, what is this?
Yeah, it was a different experience. So she was a gracious host for the most part. So, yeah.
Well, we had this question here. I think I saw you guys smirk when I put it up from Jackson Michael. Who wins in a foot race?
Me.
I knew it. I knew we would. Yep. Go ahead.
All right. So that's our buddy who's watching the show. And there's video evidence. It's probably
that he cheated.
How did I cheat? Because I dove across the finish line? Because I was willing to give up my body to win?
I didn't know that we could dive, but if we did it right now, I'd easily win.
In how far?
It doesn't matter.
100 yards?
Yes.
No chance.
Yes.
No chance.
Kathy Ball Piper said Shelley wins.
She does not.
She was there. She saw it.
She doesn't know either. There's video evidence. I dove. It was a close race. But here's the problem. When she and I were racing in the sand at the beach, I am a little bit heavier than Shelley. Just tick. So every step for me, I had to come out of 8 inches of sand.
Yeah.
She was like a water bug, just skirting across the top of it like this. So
yeah.
I beat her. I dove, but I beat her, and I ate sand. I had sand in my nostrils.
Hey, you got dirty. You showed for it, so there you go. You put the effort, put your life on the line. So, that's all you can ask for. So, all right, Russ. I noticed that you're wearing your sweatshirt. It says Hope 139 on it. What is? I believe you talked about it on the show before, but I want to hear from Miss Shelley here. What is Hope 139?
Hope 139 is a women's home, a home for women in crisis situations, like moms and their children. They can be pregnant, they can already have children, they can be, it really in most any type of situation that might be causing them to possibly lose custody of their children, and they need help and support so that they can maintain custody, or it could just be that they need education, they need training, they're not necessarily going to lose them, but they need someone to come around them and beside them and help them get back on their feet. So it's housing. We used a rental house previously in Oconee County. Yeah, that's our website. There's probably the site maps on there somewhere too. And then we housed first in that rental property, and now we've been given 17 acres of land in Clark County. It's right off Freeman Drive. So we have I'm watching you do this site map, which is on there somewhere. But now we've started building on this property that was donated to us. So eventually there will be 12 cottages for the women and their children to live in while they receive services, such as finishing their education, parenting skills, job skills, connecting them with schools, connecting them with just how to, I'm getting distracted by looking at the website, finances, and really any type of training that they need to become the parent that they need to be for their kids, to break the cycle of what they're in and have a successful future together. So there will also be, we'll start with just 3 cottages and then build up to the rest. And there's also a community center on the site plans, and that will be available to everyone in the surrounding community. There will be a basketball gym and education rooms in there, a kitchen, so that we can have anyone come in and
don't worry
try to read it.
Roddy's scrolling looking for it to see what's on there. It's all good.
Yeah, trying to. The community center will be available for anyone that lives in that area to come and use and receive resources and skills and training as well, and also recreation. And also it'll be a way for the women to have jobs, because they'll work the community center desk and run the program, so that will be a place that they can also work and earn money.
Yep. And we've broken ground on our property. The initial site work is completed, and we're starting to put in all the underground structures. Good Lord willing, if the rain holds off by the end of this month, first part of March, we'll be putting in like storm, water, and sewer. And we should start working on our first 3 cottages this year. So,
yeah.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Is there any way that people can donate or get involved? What's I just had the website up, of course, but
you can go to that website. There's a place to contact if you want to get involved, and there's also a donate now page if you want to do that. And then
join the newsletter.
Yeah, you can join the newsletter through the website, hope139house.org, and then you can also find us on social media.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And we'll get wrapped up here in a minute. But I want, the show is Dawgs and Hawgs. So we got to talk a little bit about barbecue. Russ, did you go anywhere this week to try some barbecue? If so, where? And also, Shelley, do you ever go with him to these barbecue reviews? And how come we haven't seen you give us a review?
I don't get invited.
Oh, that's a lie. You do. She does get invited. Shelley doesn't love barbecue.
Wow.
She likes high-end hoity-toity stuff. But
yeah, I'm kind of selective. I went to Smoking Po' Boys, and that was really good. And then I went to the one that Jake and Caroline went with us.
Cabin Creek.
It was good. That might be it.
Well, you've eaten a ton of the Texas places.
Yeah. The places in Texas that we've eaten, that's the type I like. That have like brisket and things like that. It's not my favorite. Barbecue's not like, I'm only going to eat it if he says, let's go eat that. It's not something I'm going to choose to go eat. I don't really love potato salad. I don't really love mac and cheese. I don't really love baked beans. I don't really love coleslaw. But then at the fancy...
This segment's going great.
But then at like the upscale bougie ones, as he calls them, they always have some type of like fancy versions of those. And those are always delicious. And I really always like those types of it. Yes, so the things that aren't made with mayonnaise.
The turkey and the lentil salad, please. That sounds excellent. Like, we don't order the same things, but yeah. So she does go with me. She's invited every week, and she knows that. She likes giving me a hard time
every week. So
yeah, this week we went to a place. I mean, you talk about off the beaten path, hole in the wall. It's called Kenneth Norris Barbecue in Warrenton, Georgia. Less than a third of the people watching the show have even heard of Warrenton, Georgia. But it was an epic review. Epic review. If you haven't seen it, shameless plug, go to my personal Facebook page, my personal Instagram page. They're posted on there. And I love everything.
It had everything. I mean, there was like dogs barking. He stepped on a dog. There was like construction sound that he said was actually chopping the meat. There was
the old man that owned it had a homemade sling with a shoulder in it.
There's a lot going on.
A truck crunk up. They brought us some 2-week-old hot sauce out of the back that was really hot. I love everything about it. I would go back there and camp out and sleep and eat there every weekend. So
there we go. Well, wait, what's the name of this place again?
Kenneth Norris Barbecue. They've sold out now the last 2 weekends, by the way. They've gotten Facebook famous.
Wow, there you go, Russ, helping out some small businesses.
So, yeah, it's cool. The girl who runs it, she's 25 now. It's Jordan Purvis. It's her granddaddy's spot, and he's been in business for a long time. So it was really, really cool to watch him.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, that's about all we have for you guys tonight on this episode of Dawgs and Hawgs. Russ and Shelley, thank you again, Shelley, for coming on. I will let you get back to your Valentine's Day night, whatever you guys have planned for the rest of the night. I'll let you guys get back to that. Fans, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Dawgs and Hawgs. Be sure to leave a comment. Thanks, Shelley, for coming on here. And go check out Hope 139. And we'll see you guys next week on Dawgs and Hawgs. Russ?
As always,
go Dogs.
Go Dogs.